Hi everyone, Sherry here from Queen City Stamper. Thanks for joining me today. I thought I would join in on the Newton's Nook Inky Paws Challenge number 37. The theme this time is plaid, so I'm using Newton's Holiday Mischief and Newton's Curious Christmas. I've already stamped these out on watercolor paper and used my Caran d'Ache watercolor pencils to do the coloring. I fussy cut these off camera as well, so not to really bore you with all of that. So I have some Nina cardstock, Nina Solar White. I used the Lawn Fawn stitched hillside borders and cut out a couple of snowbanks. I'm using Simon Says Stamp basic rectangle die and some Lawn Fawn perfectly plaid fall for my background. So this is going to be the plaid in my card for the challenge. So now I'm just laying everything out to see where I want to put it, just fussing around with it. And you're going to see me doing this maybe several times throughout the whole video because it takes me forever to do anything. And my thought process is unbelievable. Um, so in one of the stamp sets, there's a cute little snowflake. So I wanted to add a little bit of color to the background, and I'm taking some Simon Says Stamp clear ink, and I'm going to stamp the snowflake all over the upper portion of the pattern paper here. When that's finished, I'm going to use some white embossing powder and then heat set. So now that I've unburied my spoon, I will put on the embossing powder. And yes, I forgot to use my powder tool, and I'm going to have to go back in and brush off a few stray bits. And then I decided I needed a couple more in a few of the areas, so I'm going to add some more. Wipe off some more stray. And I've heated up my heat tool for about 30 seconds or so. And now I'm going to melt the embossing powder. This embossing powder is it is the Ranger Fine Detail White Embossing Powder. So after I get that all heat set, I am going to fuss with it some more. I'm going to lay it out again. And then I decided to use the Meowie Christmas sentiment. And I did notice on this one little stamp that the exclamation point didn't have a dot at the bottom, even though it showed it on the packaging. Must have just been a little manufacturing defect, but that's okay. I'm going to use my Copic multi-liner just to add that little dot. Then I decided that I really didn't want it just plain white, and I wanted to add a little bit of sparkle to just the top areas of the snowbanks. So in my stash, I had some embossing powder that was had a little bit of iridescence in it, if you will. So I rubbed my Simon Says Stamp clear ink along that top edge and then added the embossing powder. And in the end, you cannot see it in the video whatsoever, but in person, it does have a little bit of iridescent shine to it. So it was just enough to kind of add a little sparkle to the snow. So here I am melting that. And then I'm going to get a card base. It's a standard A2 card base. After I lay everything out one more time. I tell you, it takes me forever to make up my mind. So I tried to zoom in so you could see the embossing powder, but you can't. I can't. Um, anyway, so I'm going to use my Tombow Mono Multi, and I'm going to cover the back of the pattern paper and glue it down. I got one little glob there. I can't believe I left my Tombow open for, I know it was way more than 24 hours. And I was so surprised when I opened it to make this card and it actually came out. I love this stuff. So once I get that down, I'm going to do the same with the taller heel. Use my Tombow to adhere that. And then I will place the other heel or snowbank, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to use some foam tape on that one just to give the card a little bit of dimension and break up the two heel sides. This was fun. I don't do pattern paper very often. I really like the coloring part of the process, and I had to challenge myself to use pattern paper. I collect it, but I don't use it. I don't know why. It's just one of those odd things. So now I'm going to lay all of my little fussy cut pieces out one more time on my project. Make sure I'm putting them where I want them. And I'm going to use some more Tombow on the snowman. And then I'm going to tuck him just behind that farthest snowbank. And then with the tree, well, I'm going to place a block down on that just to make sure it grabs. And then for the tree, I'm going to do the same, use the Tombow. And I'm going to tuck him in as well. Little bit of problem there with trying to figure out how to get a hold of it. And my big head popped in the way, excuse me there. So then with my little brown Siamese kitty, I'm going to adhere the hat to its head. And then I'm going to figure out where I'm going to put him, her. Get the glue off my fingers, and I'm grabbing some more foam tape. And I'm going to cut the top of the foam tape there in a point because I want some of it on the hat as well as on his body. And I didn't go all the way to the bottom because I'm going to put some Tombow on the bottom there since he will actually be sitting on the front heel, which is already on foam tape. I'm going to put a small piece right there on the tip of his hat. I'm going to trim that down since a little piece was sticking over. Now that I have that fixed, I'm going to add my Tombow, and I am going to pop this kitty on the front of my card. Like I said, I do feel challenged sometimes with the pattern paper, but I'm really thrilled with the way this turned out. Thank you so much for joining me today, and don't forget to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.